Today's program is taking us to Helsinki, the capital of Finland. We began our journey in Russia, traveling from St. Petersburg in a previous episode of World Traveler. We're going by train from St. Petersburg to Helsinki, then we'll go on to Stockholm. Later in the series, we'll go to Oslo and Copenhagen. It's part of our grand tour of Scandinavia. Technically, Finland is not in Scandinavia, but as you'll see in today's program, it shares many of the cultural characteristics and history with their Scandinavian neighbors. It's a Nordic country, and we're going to explore it with our travelers from Hawaii.
Just getting to Scandinavia for the first time was really good. And we found a lot of good shopping there. Again, that hotel was so centrally located that we could get around and feel like we're part of the people without being isolated.
In our tours, we try and fit in with some of the local society and meet local people wherever we can, including helping them wash their rugs, as you'll see in today's program. World Traveler is photographed by the Hawaii Geographic Society on our regular tours of Europe. And these trips are always open to the general public, beginning here from St. Petersburg train station. The train looks something like a relic from the 1930s. That's one of the local commuter trains. In Russia, the infrastructure is not quite up to Western standards, but we found St. Petersburg to be a lovely city to visit. Hope you were tuned into our previous show on St. Petersburg. Now we're boarding our Finnish train. This is a very comfortable ride that will take us from St. Petersburg across the Russian countryside into Helsinki, Finland. Very lovely train. We still have our Russian visas. After all, we are still in Russia at the moment. We'll soon be crossing the border into Finland and visiting the capital city of Helsinki. On board the train, you can dine. There's sandwiches, there's snack bar, and you can bring your own food if you like, but they do have a very nice dining car on board this Finnish train. Good food at a reasonable price, as typical of most of the long lines that you find throughout continental Europe. Our Hawaii group enjoying a new experience. They are dining on board train as we watch the Russian scenery roll by. You bring your suitcases right into the train with you when you travel, so it's good to pack relatively light when you're traveling in Europe by train. We always suggest maybe a 24-inch suitcase is about as big as you want to go. Then before you know it, you've arrived at your destination. We find ourselves suddenly in the heart of downtown Helsinki. One of numerous fountains, this lady is the symbol of the city. A statue of the Russian Tsar Alexander II in the middle of Senate Square, a reminder that Finland was ruled by Russia until 1917. There's a beautiful park that runs right through the middle of downtown called the Esplanade, and it's lined by shops and cafes, and this is very much the heart of town. Helsinki is a compact town that you can visit in a couple of days, as we're doing with World Traveler. We spent 2 nights there doing a lot of wining and dining, fine foods, and very helpful people. There's a tourist information office right on the Esplanade, and they'll provide you with free maps and booklets and help you arrange accommodations and make restaurant recommendations. The Market Square is one of the livelier places. We're just showing you some highlights now of the program coming up as we do an in-depth tour of Helsinki. The view from the Torni Hotel is one of the best that you'll find of the city. We'll be coming up here at the end of a little walking tour with a local guide. Stockmann Department Store is the biggest store in all of Scandinavia. It's huge, and you'll find branches of Stockmann throughout the Nordic countries. The Forum is a giant shopping mall of a Western modern style. Consists of over 100 stores inside the Forum, and it's right on the main shopping street of the city. And you'll find many other shops along Mannerheim-Inti Street, but this is the biggest single concentration. It's 4 stories high, and remember, when you're shopping in Finland, in fact throughout Europe, you can shop tax-free, duty-free. If you spend more than about $18 in any particular store, in Finland, they generally give you a tax certificate that you can cash in when you cross the border and you leave Scandinavia, and then you'll get a refund. This particularly comes in handy if you're spending hundreds of dollars on a large purchase. You'll get an 18% discount on everything. Some views of the main shopping district. This is the central district, all around Stockman Department Store and near the Forum, between the Esplanade and the train station. It goes for about 10 square blocks, and it's very casual. We're here in the summertime. We're visiting in the month of July, which is an excellent time to be in Scandinavia, we've found. The weather is fine and pleasant. Temperatures typically in the 70s, so it brings lots of people outdoors to the marketplaces and to the parks. And the days are very long. The sun doesn't set until about 11 p.m. in the month of July in Scandinavia because of the northern latitude. If you go in the spring or fall, you're going to have very short days and fairly cold weather. July is ideal also because this is when many Scandinavians leave Scandinavia and head south to Spain and Italy and other southern locales for their own vacations. This means that Scandinavia is not that crowded in July, although you see lots of people out here at the marketplace. You can buy jewelry, you can buy handmade clothing, and of course fresh vegetables and fruits are the main specialty of the marketplace. It's a great place for people watching too. So during July, you can find a good range of accommodations available. You shouldn't have any problems at all traveling around in July in terms of train space or finding a rental car. And as you can see, the weather's ideal. And everybody is out enjoying it at the Sidewalk Cafe. Since the winters are long and dark in Scandinavia, during the summer, the people come outdoors and enjoy it. And one of the ways they get around town and enjoy themselves is on this beer pub. That's right, it's a bar on wheels. It's a particularly handy way of doing some sightseeing and imbibing at the same time, and it's a good place to meet some locals because it's not just for tourists. It's a beer trolley. You'll find these springing up in quite a few European cities lately, as well as Melbourne, Australia. Passing by the Forum again, going down the main shopping street of Mannerheiminti. You're watching World Traveler. This is photographed by the Hawaii Geographic Society on our regular tours of Europe. We visit Scandinavia every July with a trip always open to the public. And here we are having breakfast at our very comfortable, small, European-style hotel in the heart of Helsinki. Breakfast is included with the hotel room generally in Europe, and in Scandinavia, it's an elaborate buffet breakfast, even in a small hotel. Keeps you going for most of the day. And we have a big day today. We're off on another adventure, and we very often take public transportation when we're traveling with a group. The trolleys and buses in Helsinki take you everywhere, and if you like, you can buy an all-day travel pass or a 2-day or a 3-day pass, and our Hawaii people seem to be enjoying it very much.
You like the city?
Yeah, it's a nice, clean place. A lot of good food to eat, and the water is clean and fresh and cool.
Well, I think it's interesting to ride all this kind of buses.
Here we're passing one of several marinas in town, and then into the Embassy District of Helsinki. There's some lovely residential neighborhoods. Most of the people in Helsinki live in apartment buildings. Passing the parliament, here it's a unicameral parliament. This is the Opera House. It was just completed 3 years ago, and you'll notice the style of architecture is quite modern and simple and plain. This is very much in the Finnish style. We go into some parks as well as through the downtown area. And then we came across a group of locals who were out washing their rugs in public and hanging them up to dry. Nice chance to observe a local custom, and we even pitch in and help them out. Friendly people, the Finns, and most of them speak some English so that you can communicate pretty well. Notice how they hang them up to dry in public, and they'll leave it here for a few days, unattended, in an open public park. Now, in America, if you left a bunch of rugs out like that to dry, nice rugs from your home in a park, I don't think they'd be there a day later. But in Finland, it's a different ethic, a different tradition. Here, Peter's pitching in to help out with the rug squeezing, drying process. Wring it out, Peter. There's a lot of boats in Finland and Scandinavia. very much a watery kind of environment with lakes and inlets and streams. This outdoor sculpture is a monument to Sibelius, the great composer of Finland. Finlandia was his great epic piece. It looks like a pipe organ, and it's in a outdoor public park and honors the great musical legacy of Sibelius. Although it looks like the pipe organ for which Sibelius wrote much of his music, the sculptor insisted when it was unveiled in 1967 that this was simply a visualization of music, not any particular instrument. This monumental sculpture is further enhanced by the beautiful park setting with the trees and natural rock outcrops near the sea. Another rock outcrop has been carved into a church right in the heart of town. And there's often a concert going on inside the rock church. The copper dome is composed of 15 miles of copper wire that's been wound in a spiral round and around and forms a clean contrast with the natural rock walls of this church that was blasted out of this rocky hill by dynamite. Two brothers, architects, designed this as a result of a competition in 1969. There's superb acoustics inside the church. So very often you can catch some free music in the daytime, and in the evening there's more formal concerts for which you purchase a ticket. Some of the bedrock that was excavated out of the church was used to build this stone wall you see in the aerial photograph of the church itself that protects the copper and glass dome. The main church in Helsinki is called the Cathedral.
We're in the heart of Helsinki. Behind me is the Lutheran Cathedral, which is the landmark of town, and standing in front of it is a statue of a Russian Tsar. It's Alexander II. It's quite amazing that the Finns would, to this day, still have a statue of a Tsar. Even in Russia, it's pretty hard to find a statue of a Tsar in a public place like this. Finland has a long history of alliance with Russia. For hundreds of years, it was almost a part of Russia. And we see that still standing today. Of course, Finland is an independent country now. It's part of the economic union, and it's proud of its independence. Ever since World War II, effectively, it's been a fully independent and sovereign nation. And this is the Senate Square. It's very much the center of historic Helsinki. It looks a little bit like St. Petersburg. The architecture is reminiscent of what you'd see at the Hermitage and the Palace Square in St. Petersburg, Russia. In fact, this square has been used as a film set by Hollywood to duplicate Russia occasionally, such as in the movie Reds with Warren Beatty. They found it easier to film in Helsinki than going to Russia at that time. So it's a great tourist attraction. You can see people come here and the tour buses pull in and they pull out their cameras and get all their beautiful shots. The cathedral itself on the interior is rather plain and undecorated in the Lutheran style, but it's certainly a grand, imposing monument, a beautiful structure sitting up on the hill at the top of the steps right here in the heart of Helsinki.
As you can see, in the summertime, you know, the outdoor cafes are really popular. Just to point out, I mean, you probably know this already, but your hotel is on this street. Right. And this Esplanade is the main shopping street for anything Finnish. Okay, one more thing, the yellow building, Forex, that's the best place to exchange money. So it's just down from the hotel. All the stores on that street, Marimekko, Aarikka, Pentik, they're all Finnish designs. So if you're interested at some point, you know, looking at Finnish kinds of design, fabrics, glass, you know, this street is the shopping for anything, you know, Finnish design. So this is the way the streets were built, like at the turn of the century. So they've never changed, you know, into modern paving. It's still the way it was. Okay, we're gonna go back to the park and go by the shopping areas, and we're heading to the hotel where we can take the elevator to, you know, the tower. Yeah.
And from the tower, you have a nice view of downtown Helsinki.
This is a very Finnish. This is this one, Karelia pie. It has rice inside, or you can get it with potato. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the the building in front of us, that's the food market. If you just want to look around or whatever, yeah. This is homemade cheese that we do.
Cheese.
Yeah.
We thought that's pancake.
Yeah. So it's made of milk and then kind of burned in the fireplace. It tastes like cheese. Yeah. Kiitoksia.
What is this? What is this
Yeah,
one?
this is really typical. It's cauliflower leaves. Cauliflower leaves, and you stuff it with hamburger meat and rice.
Oh, like stuffed cabbage.
It's
Yeah.
like Russians have this
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
It's cabbage.
Yeah.
Cauliflower. We
Cauliflower.
eat cabbage.
Yeah.
What's your cheese made from? What cow or?
Yeah, cow milk.
What you got there? What is that?
Reindeer meat.
Yeah.
Very good.
Here, have a bite.
I'm gonna give it to him. These are the chanterelles. Yeah.
Sauteed, buttered.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very nice tasty. Yeah, and there are currants, red and white currants. These are currants.
What goes on your scones?
What kind of meat is that?
Moose? Was it moose? Moose? Yeah.
I see, okay.
You'll find a wide variety of kinds of foods available in Helsinki. There's continental food in the restaurants. There's Russian food, which is a reflection of the many centuries that Finland lived under Russian domination. There's also traditional Finnish food, of course, reindeer. And if you're looking for a great restaurant that has reindeer fillet, look no further than Karl Koenig, which is right in the heart of town. And there's a snack bar right in the food court. Of course, you can bring some reindeer home with you. It's perfectly okay because it's vacuum sealed.
Let me ask. He said because it's vacuum packed and it's smoked reindeer that it would last in a suitcase for 2 weeks. That's what he said.
Then I can buy, huh?
After visiting the food hall, you'll want to walk across the street to Market Square. This is right on the edge of the inner harbor of Helsinki, and it's the fresh produce, fruit, and vegetable market of the town. They also have some souvenirs here for the visitors.
Yeah. At the market, basically, most people are the farmers themselves or people they hire. Like myself, when I was in high school, I sold strawberries here in the summertime. And they open tomorrow at 6:30 if you're interested in, taking a morning walk. Anteeksi, saisinko mä näyttää heille yhdellä herneellä, kuinka niitä syödään? Kiva. This is how we eat the peas.
I saw them eat.
Try one. Try one.
Like this?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean they just eat it like that?
I saw them and I thought, oh my. So I thought it was sugar peas.
Yeah. Sweet, huh? Somewhat. Do you want to try? And then we eat this.
You eat that?
Is that a yellow turnip as well as a white?
Yeah, this is yellow, this is white.
Yep.
And your boat to Stockholm that's your boat. Yeah. And they leave every night at 6 o'clock. And there is a red one, the Viking Line, and Silja that both go to Stockholm.